I'm Bridget Phetasy, and this is your dumpster fire for the weeks of May 24th to June 13th.
Yeah. And the unicorns dance while the world burns, world burns, world burns.
We've got a new dog on the set.
It's all very
chaotic
and
as
Sam's
the world
not
is.
here.
And Sam's not here as the world is burning. Look, if you feel crazy, a lot has happened since the last time we shot. And if you feel crazy, you're 100% not alone. If you went from being in quarantine and locked up and told that you can't be with any people, and then suddenly you saw images of thousands of people marching and that broke your brain a little bit, you all are not alone. I've had hundreds of emails from people who have been telling me that they feel crazy, and you might be crazy. I mean, I'm crazy, but you aren't alone in feeling crazy. Everybody out there is really struggling. There's a lot of competing and conflicting feelings. There's a lot of gaslighting going on with the media. And we have been off for a few weeks and haven't really been able to touch upon that because it's all very sensitive. And we like to try and have fun and keep things light so that you get a reprieve from the world burning. So if you want my deeper takes on things, I suggest subscribing to the Phetasy community and reading the columns I write. But for now, we're just gonna make fun of everything else while the world burns because it's heavy.
Because we're the dancing unicorns.
Yeah, it's just so heavy.
Uh-huh.
I mean, it's crazy.
It's heavy.
And it's like inspiring and infuriating at the same time. You're like, I feel infuriated that I was locked down. I feel inspired that all of this change is happening. If all these protests were happening and there wasn't like a global pandemic, I would feel completely differently about them. But I see all those people and I freak out and worry. And I know I'm not alone. I think a lot of people who are protesting have a big internal struggle of like whether they should risk their own health or the health of those that they love and also go be out in the streets for something that's really important.
Yeah. Troll in chief. A 75-year-old man was shoved to the ground by Buffalo police. Trump accuses him of being an agitator.
Did Trump think that old man was Biden? He's like, Biden's out there in the streets. Shove him down. And then all the police resigned or something. It was some weird...
They did?
Yeah, for like a minute, I think.
There were so many people just walking by him, too.
Because I think they actually got let off the hook.
Get him better. What the f*** you walking up on me?
It's been a whole thing. And the man has brain damage now, so it's not that funny.
Oh.
I mean, this is a problem with the world today, folks. We can't make fun of anything because everything is even remotely funny is also tragic.
I know. This man was a cancer patient, apparently. He's this old man, and Trump's throwing out all these conspiracy theories.
I know. Our president is a conspiracy theorist. He's like probably gets freaking news from InfoWars. I think that story was on One American News Network. Even the people on the network were upset about the story because they felt like it misrepresented. Like they're like, we work hard to try and do good reporting in this one conspiracy theory.
This guy's an Antifa guy or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Trump also can't quite figure out how to drink a glass of water.
That was going around today. I'm going to start spreading my own conspiracy theory, and it's that Trump had a stroke, and that's why he had to go to Walter Reed Hospital last year. This is what you get for all of that Hillary stuff, which I think she clearly has some medical issues as well.
Trump could be having a stroke in the middle of a speech and we wouldn't be able to tell.
Yeah, same with Biden.
No, it's just like these are our choices.
These are our choices. Two people who in the midst of their campaigning could have strokes and we would never know the difference. That's that's the options.
That's the level America's at right now.
We're at that level of governing. Which stroke patient do you want?
Ugh. No offense to stroke patients out there.
Offense to stroke patients.
We need to qualify every single thing. That
I know.
out of
That's
our
the other
mouths.
thing.
I know.
I mean, this show may be canceled and we're just talking to nobody.
Right. Because we may be deplatformed at any moment. Because
Although
What?
we won't be deplatformed on Phetasy.com, which
true.
is why you should subscribe. Because when China discovers the joys of Latsi Sanghua, we will be probably canceled from YouTube, but we will still be existing at Phetasy.com.
In Get Wrecked China, basically China controls YouTube, apparently. YouTube confirms it's accidentally been deleting comments containing 2 phrases that insult China's Communist Party.
Is one of them Get Wrecked China? Get Wrecked China! They're like, delete. Has our channel been banned? Are we just, again, screaming into the void?
Are you watching this show right now or not?
Can you even watch this video? Do we exist? Am I just an appearance in consciousness?
Do I even exist if no one can watch me on YouTube?
If I can't take selfies, am I even alive? I knew China was coming for a lot, moi sooner or later.
Which is why you've started the pandering several weeks ago.
Yes, as you can see, we've learned exactly one phrase in Mandarin, and for all I know, it means get wrecked China.
But we were told by Google Translate that it means dumpster fire.
垃圾香火
And in canceled.
That's
Fly free.
That's everyone flying free of their cancellations.
Starting off with Paw Patrol, kind of. Someone tried to cancel Paw Patrol because it's a show about cartoon dogs who are cops.
For those of you who haven't been paying attention to the news, there is a strong anti-cop sentiment in the world. So they want to cancel everything cop-related.
Mm-hmm. Including the most innocuous cartoon in the world.
I think that was just a joke, though, that everybody took seriously.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was floating it. And then somebody tweeted about it, which then led to a New York Times article, opinion of the problematic part of Paw Patrol. I never read it because it's behind a paywall. And I think that's the case with most people. And the headline was very misleading. And it led you to believe that they were canceling Paw Patrol. But I really think no one fucking read the article.
Right.
Because no one wants to pay for the New York Times anymore. What more are they going to cancel? Scooby-Doo? Because they investigate crimes and they don't wear their masks out in public? They demask. They demask
whip
people.
people's ghost masks off all the time.
They're like, these crazy kids. Why does everything have to be so extreme? Why can't we just say we have to reform the police? I think everyone agrees on that. And then the narratives get completely hijacked by the extremists. And people start, instead of focusing on a lot of the solutions, although a lot of bills have been passed, like 10 reform bills were passed in New York. So if you are paying attention, there are reforms being made, which is good. But if you're only paying attention to the noise, which there's a lot of, you would think that basically there are only 2 camps, one that wants to completely abolish the police and the other that is all for militarizing the police and taking over America. And that's not the case. Most everyone lives in the in-between saying like, yeah, these guys need to fucking chill. What is wrong with them?
Yeah.
So they banned cops. They canceled cops. Which, frankly, I didn't actually know was even still on. I thought they got rid of cops in the 90s when we ended racism. Apparently, we didn't end racism either. Or cops.
And then we have a UCLA professor was put on leave after complaints of a woefully racist response to a request that he postpone the final exam for African-American students in the wake of George Floyd's death.
This story is one example of many examples of this happening this week in the past couple of weeks. People being fired, put on leave, or canceled for very innocuous pushback. And it is unsettling, to say the least. And also, there were like 400 attacks on journalists that have been recorded during all of the protests, too. So journalism is under fire from everywhere. Mm-hmm. Basically, it's under fire from the police who are attacking, and it's also under fire from the woke scolds who are coming for them. This story is hilarious because at the end of the day, it was a white student who was asking on behalf of the black students for them to get the extra time. I would be so freaking offended if I was a black student and some white kid asked that on my behalf.
Right.
Talk about the freaking soft bigotry of low expectations.
Yeah.
So, like, it's actually offensive. I can't believe. And then the professor, I think, probably spends too much time on Twitter because his response was pretty snarky.
It was really snarky. It was pretty funny, but snarky. But I can understand his point.
Yeah, I understand. I mean, a lot of the other professors were like, he could just say no.
Right.
But he was actually really hilarious and snarky and clearly was trying to make a point, and then everybody got offended and they started a petition, and now he is suspended. Yeah.
Because God forbid we offend the college students. That's apparently become just like the minefield of America. Don't offend the college students.
I was tweeting about this week. Here's the problem the biggest problem I see, and what's so infuriating to me as someone on the left and someone who came from the left in particular, is that they will make great strides in progress and they will get everyone on board. Everyone agreed what happened to George Floyd was horrific. Everyone agrees that police reform is necessary. Suddenly, they get drunk with power and then they start canceling every fucking person and making everything problematic, every single thing. It becomes this crazy witch hunt. That's what ends up happening is these great ideas and these great things and movements get hijacked, and then everyone's like, fuck off.
Right.
Now you've gone too far. I was saying on Twitter, it's like, you know, the left becomes like that jovial, fun, drunk guy at the bar who's like, hey, everybody, let's do karaoke. And then he gets too hammered and gets everybody to do shots. And next thing you know, he's in like 4 fist fights and getting bounced out of the bar. And everyone's like, what happened to him? He was so nice.
Oh, he's such an asshole.
Yeah. He turns into like, can't hold your power or your liquor.
And then the influencers are at it again.
Every Instagram influencer should be canceled. I love it on the heels of me being like, everyone's a totalitarian. What's happening? Cancel all the Instagram influencers. Fuck them. This is narcissism on fire.
Oh no, look at her.
This girl is making her boyfriend take a picture of her in front of a smashed T-Mobile.
We don't know exactly what happened to the person that was driving this car or passenger.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. I really. Lol. Boyfriends of Instagram. Good job, guys. BLM.
We have rewarded the worst instincts in humans, and it's the algorithm, because we must feed the algorithm. And so all these influencers in the wake of the riots were doing freaking model photo shoots in the middle of the protests. They were doing fake boarding up of, that one was the worst.
Ugh,
the girl who got canceled for boarding up. Sometimes I think you deserve to be canceled.
If you're an Instagram influencer, absolutely.
But also if you're an idiot. I mean, the best part of all these videos of influencers doing their little publicity stunt acts or whatever they are, and the people taking the video are like, oh no. Oh, this isn't a, you know, you hear the just overdubbed sounds and it sounds like they're watching an atrocity.
Oh no, look at her.
Oh no. Oh God. No. Oh no. Oh. And they're like, oh my God. Oh.
Good job, guys. BLM.
Thank you for that. There were a lot of examples of that, though.
Yeah, a lot.
And yeah, they should all be canceled, actually.
I'm all for that kind of cancellation.
Because you're a freaking idiot and a narcissist. We must feed the algorithm. Anyway, in case I didn't remind you, like, subscribe, touch my bells and buttons. This is your big chance to feed my algorithm.
Oh, God. Wait, we're not done with canceled yet.
Wait, we aren't? Oh.
No, J.K. Rowling. J.K. Rowling was again accused of being transphobic after some tweets about women and menstruation. She then wrote an article, and all the Harry Potter kids came for her.
Those ungrateful little newts. How dare they, first of all? She made them
Uh-huh.
into what they are. She took issue with people who menstruate. Was that what it was called?
The phrase, and she was kind of being snarky herself, being like, "Oh, there used to be a phrase for that, like wumben or
yeah.
or whatever." Of course, everyone piled on, and I don't know. I don't understand it. I don't understand.
I understand it. We're being gaslit.
Yeah,
and people are terrified to push back, and they all go along. And some people. Everybody's saying trans women are women. What is the fucking point of transitioning if that's true? I feel like it erases the trans choice, the choice that you're making to transition.
to change your body.
If you were a woman, you wouldn't need to transition. That's like inherent to the whole thing. And you know what? In the gay community, most of them are like, yeah, trans women are trans women.
Right.
And trans men are trans men.
Right.
That's the whole, it's not like trying to erase
The
women
transition.
and the transition part. And I think that's all she was pushing back against. And I tend to like call me old school, and maybe I am. But it's the rewriting of language and biology and saying the gender exists on this whole spectrum. And again, you can fucking say whatever you want to say. My issue is that if I say, no, I think that there's a difference between trans women, and they can identify as a woman all they want.
And live their lives as women.
And live their lives
be treated as women.
And be treated as women.
And all of the things.
And be treated medically as women. But that doesn't mean that they are originally women.
Biologically, there aren't other things going on.
Okay, you can push back and give me all the arguments. You don't get to call me transphobic for saying that and then try and cancel me and send a mob after me.
Right.
Because that's insane bullying. The only reason people don't push back against this is because you'll get banned from every platform. You'll get called transphobic for even asking questions, and you'll get kicked off anywhere and ostracized.
Right.
And J.K. Rowling has the kind of fuck you money that she can actually stand up to the mob, but that's terrifying that it takes billions of dollars to be able to stand up to that mob. I mean, we might get demonetized for even saying this.
Right. Or deplatformed. Who the fuck knows?
You should be able to have the fucking conversation.
The conversation.
Yeah.
And these are hard questions that a lot of people are confused about.
Yeah.
You should be able to have these conversations without a label transphobic being slapped on you immediately.
Yeah.
That's what my biggest issue with it is all of the articles are like J.K. Rowling is being called to task for her transphobic comments.
Right.
It's
They
like,
just assume that it's the truth.
Slap the label transphobic on it. And so they're immediately she's in the wrong.
Yeah. Patriarchy so crafty.
Yeah. It's true. And it's
Turn itself into a woman and demand rights women don't even have.
Moving on to Beyond Parody. A dumpster fire in CHAZ.
Oh, man. Where do we even start with CHAZ? I hope it doesn't shut down because I need it to be a reality show. For those of you who don't know, CHAZ is a protest city, whatever the fuck that is, that grew out of the protests in Seattle. It stands for the Capitol Hill Autonomous Zone. They basically, ironically, built a wall and they're armed and kick the police out. And so they're trying to show that they can live in harmony.
In a policeless society.
But immediately had to, somebody on Twitter, and I wish I had saved this tweet, they said, I'm really glad to see that the CHAZ is embracing Republican values of building walls to keep people out and arming themselves. It seems like they exist on a spectrum too, where sometimes it's like they do amazing art, they have movie night, everything's free. They say even speech is free, which is a bunch of bullshit. I guarantee if you went in there with a MAGA hat, you'd get your ass beat in like 5 seconds.
Right.
Or if you went in there and said that, you question trans women being women, you would get booted out of CHAZ. Not sure how free the speech is, really. It's hilarious because night 1, the homeless people came and looted all their food. Day 2, a warlord named Raz took over. It's basically an anarcho-communist bloc party. They don't believe in, letting the state help, even though the state is allowing them to be there by not shutting off their electricity and water, because the government in Seattle is a fucking joke. There was a dumpster fire and it started burning and they had to call the freaking firemen on like day 3 or day 2. Nothing says autonomous like needing city services. You fucking idiots. It's like Burning Man for pores. There's art, there's dodgeball, there's violence and sexual assault.
It's just not as well organized.
Or as well funded.
And then we have the Democrats' Kente stunt. Congressional Democrats wore a traditional African cloth to announce Monday's sweeping legislation that aims to increase the accountability of police officers.
What happened to cultural appropriation? What are these rules for thee and not for me? It's crazy. If you're a liberal, you can do whatever the heck you want. So they just come out there with the kente scarves. What does Ghana have to do with any of this? I'm sure Ghana doesn't want any involvement in the shenanigans going on in the United States right now.
And then there was a lot of backlash, of course, and then
Yeah, but nobody really
loosened
cared.
up on the backlash or something.
No one cared. It's the liberals. They can do whatever they want. They could have come out there in blackface with frickin' kente scarves and taken a knee, and everybody would have carried water for them and justified it. Just like when they were protesting, they can stand in front of a burning building and tell us that it's peaceful.
Mostly a protest. It is not generally speaking unruly, but fires have been started.
I have no resentments.
And then in boycott of boycotts, calls to boycott Starbucks as company bans baristas from wearing Black Lives Matter gear. Then a day later, Starbucks to allow baristas to wear Black Lives Matter attire, and the company made 250,000 shirts with a design that includes Black Lives Matter and No Justice, No Peace available to workers.
That's quite the 180. Starbucks is always getting boycotted by somebody. They were getting boycotted by the conservatives because they didn't say Merry Christmas and they were going to hire 10,000 refugees. And then they were getting boycotted by the libs because they called the police on the guy waiting for his friend, which then caused them to have the day of, what is it called?
Like
the sensitivity training, which sounds like some Orwellian shit. You know what? In my opinion, you should have boycotted Starbucks years ago for selling shitty, overpriced coffee.
Capitalism always wins. Brands are now publishing how non-white they are. All the BLM posts and notifications and PSAs are different. You know, we are this percentage people of color and this percentage African American and this percentage identifying as female.
And just the freaking millions, the emails. Every company sent me an email and it almost is a parody now. Just the white on black font of we support, we here stand in solidarity. Hey, brands, I didn't think you needed to tell me you weren't racist until you told me that you weren't racist. Once you started telling me you weren't, I started wondering, maybe these fucking brands are racist. It didn't even occur to me. We here at Phetasy want you to know that we are a small but mighty company of 3, comprised of 33.333 repeating percent people of color, as well as owned by 3 female identifying females. 100% female identifying. We stand in solidarity with people who want to make us rich. Please buy our merch and support us in our efforts to prove that pandering always pays off. Do. The more you know. And that note, get some merch at BridgetPhetasy.com. Like, subscribe, touch my bells and buttons, tell your friends, all the things.
All right, never woke enough. Lady Antebellum is now Lady A, but so is a blues singer who's used the name for 20 years.
This is just the perfect representation of how when you try and go woke, you inadvertently end up becoming even more of a douchebag than you were before you tried to go woke. It's just so funny that they ended up trying to virtue signal and change their name from Lady Antebellum without even thinking to check if Lady A was taken. And in fact, it was taken and is taken by a black woman who's been using it for 20 freaking years. You would think someone would have researched that.
And been like, hey, is this name available? Oh, are we stepping on a minority by doing this?
It's ridiculous. It's always the case. It's like these white people try and circle jerk and get their freaking jollies off and drink their white guilt tears. And in the meantime, they step on minorities and get in the way of any of the good work that's being done.
Right. And for the BDE award.
Dun, 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 dun. To you, protesters. Even though it kind of made me crazy seeing hundreds of thousands of people out in the streets, it also lifted up my spirits and made me feel proud to be an American, because I'm pretty sure all of us are on board, other than a very small minority of douchebags, that racism is bad, and most people really do want to try and eradicate it. And I'm happy to see that people are out in the streets, because we were locked up for 3 months and we were all pent up and online, and then we had to watch that horrific video of 8 minutes and 46 seconds of George Floyd. And you know what? Yeah, everyone should be out in the fucking streets. That is the appropriate reaction to seeing that. It is horrifically violent, and it was hands-on, and I don't know what they really expected people to do in light of that, and it shouldn't have even taken this long. So I'm very happy to see it. I do think white people are acting like it's their first time discovering racism a little bit. I'll cut you some slack. It's a little bit like when people volunteer with the homeless on Thanksgiving. My friend said, he's like, white people are all acting like they just got sober and they can't shut the fuck up about it. You know, we gave the Hong Kong protesters the BDE, and you're out there taking tear gas, getting rubber bullets, losing eyes, fighting against the state-sponsored violence we're seeing everywhere, and standing up against injustice. And I really applaud all of you. And I agree with Chappelle, who did an amazing special. These are the streets talking for themselves.
Does it matter about celebrity? No. This is the streets talking for themselves. They don't need me right now.
The young people, I do feel in capable hands if this is the next generation. And if you can't manage to go off the deep end and cancel everyone, I feel like we are making progress, even if it's dark.
Wildly chaotic.
Even if it's wildly chaotic and there are dumpster fires burning everywhere.
Dumpster diving.
What's next in the dumpster?
Elon Musk had a successful SpaceX launch like 1,200 years ago.
I can put aside my petty grievances and congratulate the man for not blowing up his rocket and uniting America for one brief moment when we all watched it take off and then breathed a sigh of relief that it didn't explode like the Challenger. I'll show you I'm a bigger person, Elon. Even though you have no idea who I am or why you're my nemesis.
15 men will compete to impregnate a 41-year-old woman in a new reality show called Labor of Love.
In a new reality show called The Handmaid's Tale. This is creepy, and there is no bottom. Of course, this is where we're going with reality.
Right.
It's just, that's a total race to the bottom.
It's a reality show.
No one's going to watch this when they have America reality show to watch.
We've got a global pandemic, a anti-racism movement. And
I know. If Earth is a reality show, 2020 is lit. 2020 is the season to watch before we all die.
And then ABC cast first Black Bachelor following outcry for diversity.
Where the fuck was the Black Bachelor like 15 seasons ago? Why did it even take this long? You shouldn't have needed to have tens of thousands of people protesting in the streets against police brutality and the murder of man to get a freaking Black Bachelor.
Seriously.
It's ridiculous. This is like the most popular show in America.
And this is their they've had 24 seasons.
It's actually outrageous, and I don't understand why there isn't more of an outcry. You're going to outcry about all this other shit, America, freaking Paw Patrol, and you're not going to go after The Bachelor because you love it so much?
Yeah.
No. You should be trying to cancel The Bachelor. That's why they won't go after it, though.
Yeah.
Because these are the people who simultaneously bitch about the reality show president and then will be hashtagging The Bachelor for freaking weeks. Psychos who'd have no concept of how their love of The Bachelor couldn't have possibly gotten this orange man in the freaking White House.
I hate The Bachelor.
I hate everything.
Sprained my eyes. Celebrities take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility.
For every unchecked moment. For every time it was easier to ignore than to call it out for what it was.
Every blatant injustice, no matter how big or small.
I take responsibility.
I take responsibility for blaming my dog for my farts. I take responsibility for not changing that roll of toilet paper when there was only 2 squares left. I take responsibility for coming out here and thinking that acting was a respectable career and wanting to be an actress. I've seen this already. I've seen this. These celebrities, all white, taking responsibility for whatever because they just can't stand that it's not about them for like 5 minutes and they haven't been able to be in their show as an act, so they just need the attention. So they made this video. I don't know whose fucking idea this was. And none of these people have anyone around them that loves them. I saw this and immediately thought of the Film Actors Guild.
My fellow actors, we live in a dark time. The world is becoming more and more violent, and the idiots in charge are making it worse.
Time has come for us to start using our acting talents in a different way.
Yes, we can use our powers to change the world.
If we focus our acting on global politics, we can change everything and stuff.
The pandering is insane.
I've seen this clip before. Yeah, the pandering is disgusting and nauseating and cringe. And they're just trying so hard to act.
You can see them emoting.
It feels like an audition tape.
We can turn the tide. It is time to take responsibility. Call out hate. Step up and take action.
They're auditioning for the role of sad white actor
who cares too much,
who can't care enough in a world where there's so much injustice. And they film this from like their mansions. Like, get fucked. I hate all these people.
In the black and white.
All of it. The music. Yeah, it makes me feel dirty.
The worst.
Including China to take over. We're done.
And now in Breaking Bridget, yet another actor emoting very hardcore online.
Only this one is Ashton Kutcher, my original nemesis.
Bridget has a lot of nemesis.
They have no idea that I exist. And they're all actors, pretty much.
Well, Elon Musk is not an actor.
I mean, he could be. He's so annoying. Ashton? Yeah. I should just do a reaction video to this because I don't even know what kind of fucking journey I got taken on during this thing. He just started talking about how his son, like, girls go first.
But I had a really poignant experience tonight when I was putting my kids down to bed that lent the words for why Black Lives Matter. My son says, wait, why don't I get to go first? And Mila said, because girls go first. And I said, you know why girls go first? For you and me, girls go first. And the reason why is, for some boys, girls don't get a go at all. And so for you and me, girls go first.
And you know what? In this house, girls go first. I think Melanie Notkin said it the best. She said, I can't tell if the girls go first thing is feminist or chauvinist. I'm totally cool with it, but I thought chivalry was canceled.
Right? It's such an antiquated sentiment and statement.
Yeah, girls go first isn't something original, by the way. He acts like that's like something they came up with because it's feminist, when really it's just what polite men used to be taught to do. And now it's like this big fucking statement that he's making with his kids. Because sometimes, in some families, girls don't go first.
Girls don't get to go at all.
No, girls don't get to go at all. And then at the end, when he gets all choked up, and you can see him acting again.
I know.
For some people, Black lives don't matter at all.
And for some people, Black lives don't matter at all. Like, with the tears.
The choked up voice.
It reminds
quiver.
Again, it reminds me of exactly the puppet in Team America that's the actor when he's talking to the terrorists. And he's like, and if you don't like it, I'll put a jihad on you too.
Because I'll put a jihad on you too.
All right.
We need to get out of here. We've been in this fucking undisclosed
God,
location. We've had three technical difficulties. We clearly need Sammy flaps and folds to make this operation run smoothly.
We'll leave you with some Internet is Glorious clips, some of the best things we've found across the internet lately.
I feel that I can no longer be silent. So starting today, I will be donating 5, 10, and even sometimes 20. And I think it's time that we all of us looked in the mirror and asked, how did we get here? And how do we go back? Or how do we move forward? Or how do we go from side to side?
It is our job and duty to call out injustice and put law enforcement on blast. And there's no better way to do that than with Mountain Dew Baja Blast, available at your nearest. These cops are acting crazy. You might even say loco. Grab a Doritos Locos taco today at your nearest taco.
The hair is coming down. All right, wait. We've got some Phetasy news.
For Walk-Ins Welcome, we had Nathan Edmondson, Coach T, and Andrew Heaton. It's been dude heavy, but you know what? Here at Phetasy, sometimes girls don't go first. Get some merch
at
like this.
BridgetPhetasy.com.
You're not woke, you're annoying. For all your freaking annoying liberal friends, send it to all the celebrities that you know. Throw it outside of their gates.
Throw it over their gates.
Throw that t-shirt over their gates. You get to see this whole shit show on Sundays if you subscribe to Phetasy.com for a mere $5 a month, which is less than freaking Starbucks cup of coffee. You get to watch the unedited version early before we even cut the edited version. So you can be part of the special club of Phetasys, the Phetasy fam. And we do fun things online, and we also have been doing Zoom calls. It's like basically a quarantine support group, but also now rioting, looting, protesting support group, which hopefully won't go into a martial law support group. Thank you, Better Phetasy, for all of your research. Thank you, Zen Pro Audio, for the microphone. Thank you, Sammy Flaps and Folds, for all of your help. And clearly, we need your expertise in the camera department.
We miss you, Sam.
We miss you, Sam. Thank you, Maggie. We love you. Thank you to Hope and Jasper, who have finally settled down. And thank you, for waiting for us, for putting up with our, it's been a little hectic, and we love hearing from you, and we love you, and we'll do this as often as we can, now that Maggie and I have got this operation on lockdown.
This is such a smooth operation we've got going here.
Like, subscribe, touch my bells and buttons.
Let's get that hair all fixed.
Smell my hair. Email us at weeklydumpsterfire@gmail.com if you have any stories you want us to cover or just want to say hi. We did it, guys. We're going to make it. Everyone's going to be okay, even if we all go crazy. This has been your Dumpster Fire for the weeks of March 24th to June 13th. I'm Bridget Phetasy. Now make me rich. I take responsibility for you making me rich.